All right, so welcome back. This is kind of a part 3 of my wiring tail lights for your dirt bikes and quads and anything that doesn't have lights already, or maybe your electric conversions like I've done where you have to take a lot of the electronics out. So here's a diagram, kind of try to give you an idea of what you do. I know there's a fair amount of wires, and so it's every application is going to look a little different, but it's similar to part 1 when I went over it, but I've added the blinker relays and the blinkers. So really that's the biggest difference. So you really have your positive small wire going up to the switch and the thicker wire going to the fuse and then going to the relay, just like in part 1. So watch part 1 if you didn't get a chance to, and you'll get a pretty clear picture of that. So like in this case, I'm using a switch that has the lights, the turn signals, and a horn built into the switch, and a lot of the bikes come with that, so you should follow this pretty close. So you run a positive wire to this, and it powers everything, and then you run the other thicker positive wire to the fuse and then to the relay. And then from your switch, you're going to come out with the leads that go to your blinkers and the lead that goes to the relay, which is going to trigger the power to your headlight and tail light. And then you go from your relays to your left signals and your right signals. So if you have front and back, you'll need to split it in two to go to both of those. And then both of those have a negative that need to go back to this, and both of those. So all 4 of them are going to need to go back to the negative. So that'll complete your blinkers. And then the same with the lights. Both the tail light and the headlight will need a black wire going back to your negative. So it looks a little jumbled, but that's the idea. So I'll show you what that looks like. I've wired up pretty much this exact thing right here. I know it's kind of a mess, but I've got a tail light. I've got that switch that I was talking about that has the lights, the blinkers, and the horn. and then I've got, I'm just plugging this one in. It's just one I had handy. This is your headlight. This is your tail light down here. And then you have 4 blinkers. So in my case, as I've always done, I use a regular battery for a regular lithium battery to run my 12-volt source. So you have your battery, and then you have the leads going to the relay. You got the bigger red one going to the relay and the little red one going to the relay. Actually, the little red one goes to the switch and then to the relay. So it goes to this first, which is this group right here. Here's your 2 blinker relays. And then you've got from the blinker relays, from one of the blinker relays, you've got these wires going from one blinker relay to the blinkers, to the 2 blinkers, and then from the other one to the other 2 blinkers. So obviously you can pause the video and kind of study this a little bit closer, but I have the hot lead coming off of the relay is split into 2, so that one can go to the headlight and one can go to the tail light, right? So, and then from the tail light, you've got a black here that's also split in 2, and it goes to both the headlight and the tail light. So So all of this, you have the bigger black going to the headlight and tail light, and the bigger red going to your relay that then goes to your headlight and tail light. So that's what this part is. And then the other wire goes to your switch, and then from the switch goes to here for this relay, and or goes, because this switch has leads, so you get one power going into the switch, but then you have one smaller one coming out to go to your main relay for your lights, and then you have one going to one of the relays for your left blinker and one going to your right blinker. So there's a whole cluster of wires coming out of your switch, but there's only one positive red going into it. And then you have the negatives coming off of your blinkers. All four of them have to go back to your negative. And you have the negative coming off of both your headlight and your tail light, coming off of these back to your negative. And so you have a lot coming back to your negative. And so then when you hit the switch, it will turn on your running lights and your headlight. And if you hit the blinkers, you've got the one side, and then you've got the other side. So you've got your blinkers working. And then the horn's the same way. You would run the wire from the cluster that is the horn to the horn, and then the other black off of the horn goes back to the negative as well. So I know it looks kind of cluttered here because I've got long wire, because I'm actually need to run it to the locations on the bike. So I ended up cutting longer wire. So it'll take a little while for me to put this onto the bike, but once I do that, I'll show you a little bit. I'll make another video that shows you the how I did that, how I actually installed it on my Enduro. But I think it came out okay. And of course you can use any lights. I just happened to find these ones, and then the only other thing is that you'll want to put a switch for the brake light on your handbrake and or foot brake, or both, depending upon your bike, that will then activate the other wire on this, the red wire on this one, so that it gets bright for your tail light. And I'll try to show that when it's on the bike, because the switches are on the bike rather than in here. But yeah, that's it. I mean, you got lights and blinkers. All right, guys. Well, thanks for watching. Catch you next time.